welcome to my channel. My name is Janelle McSwiggan, and I'm a nurse medical writer for the past 6 years. I help burned out healthcare workers leave the bedside and become successful nurse writers. Today we're going to be talking about myth busting. Can you really make money nursing? And we'll be going over some of the common misconceptions I hear about nurse medical writers, especially from people that are curious about it. Like, subscribe, and follow. I also have a course for those that are interested in leaving the bedside but aren't quite sure where to start. Let's get right into it. So the first myth buster about medical writing is that it's a scam. I hear this all the time, that medical writing is just a scam. This is like some online scam and I'm like a Nigerian prince or something. I'd like to counter that with just Google me, Janelle McSwiggan. My maiden name is Janelle Borowski. I've been published well over 300 times by now in a variety of really well-known media outlets, including Haymarket, Health News, Medical News Today, Health Grades, and Health.com, as well as GoodRx. It's definitely not a scam. If you guys think about how every blog has to be written by someone, right? There's an actual writer on the end of that. That's a medical writer. And a lot of them are nurses, healthcare workers, and registered dietitians. But we're not only writing blogs. We're working in clinical trials to create the documents for new medications, treatments. We're creating marketing campaigns for hospitals, smaller doctors, med spas, including newsletters, as well as billboards and any other types of social media campaigns. So we're really multifaceted. We can also write books as well as ghostwrite for people. So we provide a lot of services, and we're also a worldwide industry. If you think about all the different ways that we can provide writing to different people, you start to realize it's not a scam. I just invite you to Google, say, diabetes, and then click on Medical News Today, Health Grades, or any of the other top industry players that pop up, and then just check out the name that wrote them, and you'll figure out that that's an employed, paid medical writer. And they'll pay you more if you have a clinical degree or background. A lot of the time they are written by nurses. So that's the first myth that we'll bust today. The second myth is that because you haven't quit the bedside entirely, you aren't successful. I think that there's a lot of gatekeeping in nursing, and that there's a lot of thinking in black and white. So success means different things to different people. To me, it means that I'm happy with what I'm doing, and that I'm making great money, and that my mental health is soaring in ways that it never has. So I still keep one foot in the clinical world, and I've actually had clients request nurses that are still working clinically, because we're continuously learning at the bedside, and we're actually field experts right now. So if you leave the bedside, and once again, that's a very individual choice, and I implore you to do whatever is best for you, your family, and your financial decision, as well as the decision of your business. If you leave the bedside, you do risk closing off some of these jobs. Then again, you have the benefit of having more time to take on other jobs. So see how it's not black and white? You really have to do the pros and cons of each. So I've decided to stay on and off in a reduced capacity, because that's what works for me. That's what works best for my business, for my family, and also for my mental health. I don't hate nursing. I love nursing, but I hated it when I was reliant on it. So now I get to choose. Do I want to work at the bedside this week, or do I want to do more writing this week or next month, whatever? Just because you decide to stay at the bedside does not make you an unsuccessful writer. It just means that you're doing what's good for you. Don't let the nurses and the writers that gatekeep make you choose something that isn't the best thing for you. So that's the second myth. The third myth today is that you're a nurse, not a writer, or you're a writer, not a nurse. When we become writers, it doesn't mean that we're giving up our nursing license. I still have an active nursing license in my state, and even if I wasn't practicing clinically in any way and touching patients, I would still keep my nursing license. There are plenty of nursing managers, nurse educators that have the credentials next to their name and they don't touch a patient. And they're not called fake nurses or people that aren't nurses. So I think we really have to dispel this concept that nursing is just for people that work in hospitals or healthcare facilities or people that are administering medication, because it's not according to the scope of the ANA. It's anyone that is helping to facilitate or advocate for the health of humanity. So I think it's really important to explore that concept and know that, again, it's not black and white. You're not a writer or a nurse. You're a nurse writer. And that it's not one or the other. You can do both at the same time. And you can also be a nurse writer that's still a nurse. It's just a different facet of nursing. I didn't leave the profession. I'm just helping my peers that are at the bedside in a different way. A lot of the time, they're too busy to explain these concepts in deep ways that their patients can understand. So what do patients do when they leave the hospital or leave in a doctor's appointment? They Google it. And when they're Googling it, I want them to find an article that was written by a nurse, because it's accurate, it's evidence-based, and it's coming from someone that understands their body and their ability to learn. So I'm not less of a nurse. I'm not a nurse. I'm supplementing the nurses at the bedside with my particular specialty of nursing, which is nurse medical writing. The next misconception that I hear all the time about nurse medical writing is that there isn't any work out there. This is a big one. So the market for nurse writing is huge. When I am working clinically, I can only be in one place at one time, and it's geographically close to me. Even when you're travel nursing, you can only work in one hospital really, and it's wherever you travel to. As a nurse medical writer, I'm remote. There is no geographical border. I can work anywhere. And there's different time zones. I have clients in Singapore. I have clients in Australia. I have clients in Germany. I have clients all over. My background isn't just in one area. So once you open up that geographical border, you can get clients anywhere. And then I don't have to write about what I practice at the bedside, which is different from nursing, right? Because when you niche yourself down, you're usually pigeonholed to that niche, and it's really hard for you to move from one area to the other. Not always, but a lot of the time it is. With medical writing, I don't have to write about what I practice. I can write about anything. So not only am I not limited to my location, I'm not limited to my niche at the bedside. So huge market right there. And then you also have to think that the internet is constantly expanding. People are making websites all the time. New drugs are being created constantly. New treatments, they always need writers to help draft the clinical documents to get approved by the FDA, to write new blogs for new physicians or hospitals, to create social media campaigns for new apps to help with period tracking or, psychiatric content. As the internet becomes more and more popular and people are searching for more and more things, your market is getting broader and you have more clients right there. It's actually wild because being a nurse writer is so lucrative. You can look anywhere and you can find a client. The fact that there are no clients, that's definitely a big myth, especially according to money regards. The next myth about money for nursing is that all the work is on Upwork and I can't get any. I get asked this all the time. Do you find your clients on Upwork? No, of course I don't. That's where scammers hang out. That's where the lowest paying clients hang out. And that's where the highest competition is. So why would I be on Upwork? And why would new writers want to be on Upwork? That being said, some people do find success on Upwork. And if it works for you, I'm happy for you. Lean into it. I say that to people all the time. If you find something that works, please follow that crumb of cookies and find your own trail. But for the vast majority of people, Upwork is a scammer's heaven. It's also not sustainable. You can get underbid left and right. Not only that, but they have a token system. So you can only apply to so many free jobs every month, and then after that, you have to pay for tokens to apply for new jobs. And say you apply to a job and it takes 10 tokens, and then your job is underbid by someone who offers you the job for cheaper, you just lost your 10 tokens for the month and you can't apply for another 30 days unless you buy more tokens. Not to mention the competition. There's thousands and thousands of people from all over the world on Upwork. Same thing with Fiverr, and they're vying for the same jobs as you. So it doesn't really make sense to look for jobs where everyone else is looking for jobs and only the lowest paying people are getting jobs. So no, I don't find my jobs on Upwork, and I don't recommend that most people find their jobs on Upwork. And if you're looking on Upwork, it would make sense that you think that there's no jobs. The next myth about medical writing is that you have no experience, so you won't be able to get a job. I hear that a lot. That's exactly why I created the portfolio building experience at willowbarkwriting.com. The portfolio building experience allows you to work with a real editor and to build your portfolio so you have the experience to get that first job right away. You get experience by building your portfolio, like I just said. It can be published or it can be unpublished. Published will always hold more weight, which is why I recommend my service. But you can also try to do a portfolio unpublished. And some people do find success that way. So that's how you get experience without having experience. It's through something called a portfolio. I actually did an entire video on that. So if you're interested on learning how to get specifically started in the steps, like, subscribe, and follow for more. The next myth that I hear all the time about medical writing is that there's no per diem jobs. Everything's full-time. I'm a freelancer, which means I do the equivalent of per diem jobs. I decide when I work, how many jobs I want, and what my rate is, and I decide who I want to work with, which I think is particularly freeing because I never have to take on a client that I don't vibe with. If I don't want to work with them, I just say no thank you and I end a contract as long as it's within the means of the contract. It's not like at the bedside when I was forced to take patients I didn't like and I might, be verbally abused or whatever else was going on. So there are definitely per diem jobs. They're a dime a dozen. You just have to know where to look, which is how I help people in my writing course. The Writing Academy at willowbarkwriting.com. The next myth that I hear so much about is that there are no full-time jobs. I hear there's not enough part-time jobs and that there's not enough full-time jobs. I have been offered so many full-time jobs. You can do this part-time, you can do this on the side, or you can dive all in. When you dive all in, you can do full-time for one company, or you can Mod Podge different per diems to make your own schedule. Or you can just do one per diem and that's it and keep your clinical job. It's really whatever you want to do here, which I think is super valuable for people that aren't quite sure and just know that they're burnt out and want to change. So those are our top myths. Like, subscribe, and follow for more information. And if you're curious about medical writing and want to learn more, my courses and resources are at willowbarkwriting.com.